RISPA, my name is Nelson Makanda. I am the chair of this selection panel, and on behalf of the panel and the Kenyans who desire to have a commission in place, thank you for applying, and congratulations for being shortlisted.
Thank you, Chairman.
Karibu. I want to invite my colleagues here to introduce themselves to you. Then they can get to know you. Asante.
Good evening, Madam RISPA.
Good evening, Madam.
My name is 𝐑𝐢𝐬𝐞𝐫, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this interview session. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Madam Linda.
CPA RISPA, karibu.
Thank you, CPA.
Jina langu ni Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa jopo hili la uteuzi na mwenyekiti. She is one of our council members at ISPAC. So, karibu.
Thank you so much, FCPA.
Sorry, Caroline Kituku, a member of the panel. Karibu.
Thank you, Madam Caroline.
Good afternoon, RISPA.
Good afternoon.
My name is Adam Solo. I'm a member of the selection panel.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Madam.
Good evening.
My name is Nicodemus Bore. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam.
My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel. Please feel welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Olik.
Good afternoon.
Karibu sana. My name is 𝐀𝐰𝐲𝐤𝐿, and I'm here as a member of the panel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, RISPA.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Evans Misati. I'm a member of this selection panel, and we welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Now it's your turn to introduce yourself. We would like to know you, highlight those things that are significant in your profile for the role you have applied for, but also for our noting, and indicate if you're a member of any professional society, and if you have received any award. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and you'll pardon my voice. I've had a cold, though I'm recovering. It's no longer contagious. So if I sound hoarse, bear with me. This is not my ordinary voice. So let me start by thanking you, Chair, and the panel for this opportunity to appear before you. My name is RISPA Olik. I'm an accountant by training. I have been a professional for over 20 years, and my professional journey began at World Vision Kenya, where I was an accountant for about 2 years in Voi. Then I progressed to be a regional finance and supply chain officer based in Kisumu, covering part of Western Rift Valley and of course Nyanza. And part of my memorable achievements, especially at the regional office, was my role in just improving the supply chain process of World Vision. World Vision had so many offices, and other than supporting and coordinating the financial reporting from the various program offices, that is the time I initiated pre-qualification of suppliers. I started working on procurement plans. We also had initiatives around supplier relations management, and we were able to save a lot of money because most of the projects that World Vision did were similar. So if we were equipping schools with water tanks, then we were able to procure these collectively from the manufacturers like Kentank and then distribute the same. So in 2011, I moved from World Vision and joined Amnesty International Kenya. At Amnesty, I helped them set up the office almost from scratch. They were just setting up in Kenya at that time, so I moved to Nairobi. And I worked with Amnesty for about 10 years as the head of finance. And this is when I also ventured into leadership and governance space when I first got elected to serve in the Council of ISPAC, that is the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, in 2019. But I'll come back to that in a little while. So I left Amnesty in December of 2020, I had decided to go do my doctoral degree. And while at that, I ventured into private practice as an auditor. So I did consultancies for about 4 years, trainings, audit work, and the like. And then early this year, I took up my current role. So as I sit here today, I'm an Associate Director, Finance and Administration, working with Health Right Kenya. Back to my governance role, I said I got elected into the Institute of Certified Public Accountants as a council member in 2019. So by then I was working for World Vision, for Amnesty International Kenya, sorry. So when I got this role, my first encounter with the members was that we had a very disgruntled public sector accountants. And that was around the time most of the finance officers and procurement officers were asked to step aside for lifestyle audits. And with the help of my employer then, we submitted a proposal to UNDP, who granted us, and in collaboration with EACC and other agencies, we were able to train over 400 accountants on safe whistleblowing, because most of the accountants said they wanted to do the right thing, but they did not have a channel, or some of them didn't know how to deal with whistleblowing and the like. And that was again the same time we had the Masai Mara haste. So having had a conversation with those who were involved, I realized that with the sensitive information that accountants hold and process, given an opportunity to whistleblow, some of them didn't know who to talk to. So they would talk to the wrong people. For example, the Masai Mara haste, they said they had been speaking to several people who used that information to extort the person they were whistleblowing against, and this was also endangering their lives. So as a result of this exercise, over 400 accountants were trained, and I'm sure to date they're better equipped to handle sensitive information if they have it. And ISPAC also ended up with a whistleblower policy, which has benefited quite a number of accountants who choose to whistleblow. When I started my service as a council member, my first mandate was to chair the Member Services Committee. This was in 2019, as I'd said, towards the end. And when we got into 2020, I think it was 6 or 8 years into my service, Corona struck. And ISPAC is an independent institution. Most of our funding comes from training our members. So we could not hold physical activities. And we went into panic because we don't receive money from Exchequer and the like. So the chairman of the institute then, I've been lucky to serve under 3 chairmen, constituted an ad hoc committee. I was one of the members, the CEO, and I think the vice chair then, and the person who was chairing finance and strategy. We had regular meetings on how to get out of this problem. So we came up with the vibrant online trainings that are popular to date. We got out of COVID, but most of our members still prefer this option. It's cheaper and convenient. So most of our trainings to date at ISPAC have that blended kind of attendance. You can be physically present, you can attend virtually. When the term of the chair ended after 2 years, under the new chairman, I became the chair of Finance and Strategy Committee. Again, that time we were just getting out of COVID and struggling with a huge loan that we had taken to put up the CPS Center on Thika Road. So again, we had to figure out how to navigate that space. And I am happy and proud to tell this panel today that while I chaired the Finance and Strategy Committee, we were able to retire the loan for CPS Center about 6 years early and saved the Institute over 100 million in finance costs. So we are proud owners of CPS Center as we speak to date. Currently, under the 3rd chairman, I'm chairing a subcommittee on on special events and member welfare. Again, we had started a benevolent fund for ISPAC members. And currently, we've worked on separating that fund from the Institute to make it independent, make it sustainable, have its own governance structure, and also seeing how to improve the benefits to the members in terms of payout. We are covering more people, parents-in-law. When we started, we were only covering the nuclear family. So that has grown, and I'm also proud of that achievement. Excuse me. So beyond ISPAC, I also represent ISPAC in the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. This is a board that is mandated with issuing financial reporting guidelines to most of our public entities and standards for internal audit in public sector, on internal audit and risk management, sorry. So in PSSB, I have been chairing the Accounting Standards Committee. Again, during my leadership, we have rolled out several templates that have been used to harmonize financial reporting in the public sector. We've issued guidelines on application of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board standards that are rolled out. And currently, we are the champions of the move from cash to accrual accounting. That, to me, is not just a change in the accounting system, but it's a commitment by the accountants to transparency and accountability in terms of managing the public funds, because we know the advantages that come with accrual accounting. The liabilities, we talk of pending bills. We believe with that will be a thing of the past, and we'll also be having better visibility of the liabilities. We say we don't know how much Kenya owes. So when that is well captured, we have visibility of our assets. I think it will be a good thing in terms of accountability. I'm also serving in the governance group of INPAS. INPAS is a global body that also is currently working on standards that will harmonize the reporting of NPOs or non-government organizations. We realized that most public sectors subscribe to IPSAS, the public sector accounting standards, and then we have the ones that are focused on profit, focusing on IFRS. So the NPOs have been floating, and through INPAS, we are harmonizing the reporting so that they are not responding to donor needs, which make the work really hard. Each donor comes with their own requirements. When an entity is funded by more than one donor, then you realize that the same assets shown to this donor is shown to the other. So that also brings issues on donor confidence, among other things. So
I want to stop you there.
Thank you. Maybe you'll give me a minute to talk about my academic qualifications.
Yes, please. 30 seconds. You can finish that. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So I hold a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Nairobi. I also have an MBA, Finance from the University of Nairobi. I'm a certified public accountant of Kenya and member of ISPAC in good standing. I'm also a certified secretary and a member of ICS. I'm a certified mediator. I have trained in ESG, so I'm certified in ESG. I'm also a trainer in that area. I've done the Senior Leadership Development course, Strategic Leadership SLDP course, and currently I am a doctoral candidate doing my DBA at USIU, specializing in leadership and organization change. So allow me to stop there, Chair, and pardon me for the lengthy introduction.
Thank you. It was helpful. Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Rispa, you have indicated that you are now an Associate Finance Administrator?
Associate Director, Finance and Administration.
Okay, at Health Right Kenya.
Yes.
So if appointed as a member of the commission, what relevant experience do you bring to the commission that will help you in the execution of your mandate as a commissioner?
Thank you, Madam. Chair, if I get this chance to serve the commission, when I looked at the skill sets that are required for this job, I felt that I have 3 of them. I've talked of my accounting skills. Pardon me. My managerial skills is evident, going by even my current role as an associate director. And I also have governance skills, both through training and experience. So in terms of skills, that's what I'll be bringing on board. I would also come with independence, the integrity that is required for this position. And I would consider myself a value-based leader. So I would also be coming with certain values that speak to the core mandate of this commission.
Any competences outside your educational background?
Yes, Chair, as I indicated, I'm a certified mediator. So on alternative dispute resolution, I would want to believe that would be important. I also once went through a course of, when I was working for World Vision, on do no harm, in the sense that sometimes you can have an initiative that you think is good, but when you look at it broadly, you realize that it could have a different effect. For example, if you go drilling a borehole in a certain area and the neighboring community doesn't have water, so this can be a source of conflict. So I'm coming with those skills. I don't know if that is sufficient or I should continue.
Are you a team leader? Are you a team player?
I am a team player. I believe in being innovative. Teamwork is important to me. So yes, I'm a team player. I love teamwork. I'm a strategic thinker. So I wouldn't take things just on the surface of it. I consider myself quite vocal, so I don't hold back. Before I know it, I would have spoken my mind.
Communication skills?
I believe I have those too.
1 to 10, rate yourself.
I could be at 9.5.
Good. Thank you so much. I wish you the best.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Okay, Carol, we invite you to ask some questions, please.
Thank you, Chair. This one. The independence of the IBC. What is your understanding of the independence of the IBC? What is it that makes IBC an independent institution?
Thank you so much, Madam Caroline. By the establishment or the formation of IBC through the Constitution of Kenya, that makes it independent. I also want to believe through the IBC Act, there are certain laws that, I mean, it's able to operate without undue influence or interference from other entities. That gives it the independence. In terms of its funding, of course, the Commission does not rely 100% on donor funds, which can sometimes also come with the carrot stick kind of arrangement. So as much as we are still, as a Commission, there's reliance on exchequer, but just by that fact that they get an allocation of funds. To an extent, not fully, they would be better off with a fund. I want to believe that also gives it some independence. And even the fact that the Commission is able to recruit, there is the tenure for the commissioners. The members of staff of the Commission are recruited by the Commission itself. Those are some of the things that come at the top of my mind of what gives the Commission independence.
Okay. Despite it being an independent commission, it is accountable to the people of Kenya. How is IBC constitutionally and legally accountable to the people of Kenya?
Thank you so much, Madam Caroline. Excuse me. So in terms of accountability, of course, the independence does not compromise on the accountability, and the Commission is accountable to the people of Kenya. The processes in terms of conducting the elections, there has to be transparency. They should be able to demonstrate that the business or the processes are above board, and there are provisions that allow, if, like we had the call of Fungua Server, among other things. I know at certain points, people are free to come to IBC and request for certain information. And if they find it favorable, then they're able to provide that information when asked of the same. So the Commission is independent, But to that extent, they have to be accountable for their processes. They have to be accountable to the people of Kenya for conducting business above board.
Okay. There is a difference between involving the public through public participation and accountability. And accountability of the commission, right? So whom does IBC report to? And how does that reporting mechanism ensure that it's held accountable? Yes.
I want to believe there could be various ways of accountability. When it comes to the public resources that the commission receives, then this is audited by the Auditor General and goes through the normal public financial management process in terms of accountability and demonstrating value for money, among other things. The commission is also accountable to Kenyans. And that's why the chair has to answer very hard questions when people come out and they have to respond and demonstrate that whatever processes happened above board. So there's that accountability to the people of Kenya. Through Parliament, I want to believe there's also that accountability. Of course, this sometimes works both ways because the processes that IBC is involved in lead to the formation of our Parliament. But because of that independence and ability to do their work without undue influence, there's still that flow of accountability.
Okay. The Constitution says that or provides that at the end of each financial year, the IBC shall present its report of its activities to Parliament and the President of the Republic of Kenya. You spoke about Parliament. Let's speak about the President. To what extent is IBC accountable to the President of the Republic of Kenya? And can it take instructions or directions from the President of the Republic of Kenya?
I agree, and what you've mentioned is right in terms of the accountability. Like you said, I've spoken about Parliament. About presenting reports to the President, that is okay, but I wouldn't speak to or say that the President would give instructions to the Commission, because then that would be compromising on that independence. For, how would I call it? For sharing information, because there's a partnership in all this process. It's good for the President to know what's happening at the Commission. I mean, the buck stops with him as the head of the country. But IBC remains independent and cannot take instructions on certain matters, especially speaking to its core mandate.
All right, thank you very much. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Carol.
I invite 𝐀𝐤𝐤𝐿𝐵 Muli to also ask you some questions. 𝐀𝐤𝐤, please.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Olik, how did you get your clearance certificate from the DCI?
Currently, they have two options. So the old way of doing it is putting all your paperwork together, downloading a form, filling it, having the certificate certified by a lawyer, and then you physically take them to EACC.
Okay, but how do you apply? How do you apply for it? Do you go there and fill a form, or you apply virtually?
For EACC?
No. I'm
DCI.
talking about DCI.
Oh.
The police
Sorry.
compliance.
Oh yes. For police compliance,
clearance.
It starts online on eCitizen.
And at what stage do you interact with the station?
So previously you'd have to book, and then you get a day slot, time slot and everything, and you appear at either Huduma Center or CID headquarters, where they take fingerprints.
Okay. So what I'm saying this because many candidates are proposing many innovative ways in which IEBC can use technology to actually, if you can get a police clearance certificate virtually by first applying online, and you just go to the police station for your
biometrics.
fingerprints, and then you leave, and the document finds you. Why can't we register voters the same way? What stops the IEBC from virtually doing everything and just asking people to go to the nearest office to give their biometrics? That's number one. Number two, just note that down. Number two, I'm very happy you are a member of ISPAC. As you know, ISPAC is a leader in technology, use of technology, especially for voting. In fact, the professional organizations I belong to borrow that technology to conduct our elections. For example, ICS, where you are also a member. We use that technology, and that they facilitate us to actually conduct our elections. And most of the election is conducted virtually. Why can't IEBC do the same? And I'm sure you have members, elected members of parliament who are members of ISPAC, no?
Yes, we do.
How do they trust your election and they can't trust the one for IEBC? Why do you think there is a problem with use of technology in IEBC? And what innovative ways can you bring to the IEBC if you become a member to address those underlying problems? I hope I've not confused you with many questions together.
Not really. I think I've taken note, and in case I miss any, I'd kindly ask that you just point it out. So, excuse me, Chairman, I'm sitting here and asking myself the same question, because I think IEBC can do things differently. In terms of digitizing the registration process, we have very tech-savvy young people. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't we have an app or a one-stop shop, an IEBC app that is able to do lots of these things? Biometrics do not have to be just fingerprints. It could be someone's eyeball. It could be the face recognition or anything else. So I want to believe it's doable.
Yes, actually what I was asking you is why. We know all that can be done.
Yes.
You have done it, you have led the way. But why? What stops IEBC from doing that?
From where I see it, I could say nothing stops them. But thinking operationally, there could be challenges, because technology, one, comes with knowledge or education. So if we're going to apply a technology that is going to exclude certain people because they cannot access it or they are not able to understand how that technology works, then probably IEBC has settled for what they believe would give a fair, a level ground for everybody. So I continue? Yes.
I wanted to, the reason why I was asking this question, I was sort of driving you to, you see, IEBC has this habit of seeking permission from their clients, their main clients, to do anything. And those clients are very difficult in agreeing with IEBC and allowing IEBC to do anything. Like, you know, those political parties, candidates, and so on. And I was just trying to see the nature of your membership and compares to them. And what I was looking for is, why is it difficult for them to accept IEBC to use technology when it is easy for them as your member to accept the outcome of what you do using technology? What is the difference between, of course there's a difference, but why? You understand?
I understand you, Madam Koki, and I would believe probably someone could say the stakes are higher in this than in ISPAC, because the elections that we conduct at ISPAC, I'm a council member, it's not my full-time job. When it becomes your bread and butter, then probably the stakes are higher. But I would like to say that when you introduce something, getting the buy-in is important, and the approach that you use. So if it calls for just educating people, it calls for hearing the various voices and demonstrating the value for going a certain way and constantly communicating, making the whole process simplified, transparent as much as possible, because I'm thinking there's a lot of talk even about blockchain. If it's about the trust, we've had, I'm not an IT guru, but we've had cases where we say when you use the blockchain system, then you cannot modify certain things. If it's for voting, then the moment that person is registered or voted, it even comes with the time and date stamps. And this encryption from end to end. I hope I don't get more questions on that line of blockchain, but there's a lot of technology basically out there that if we make use of the bright minds.
No, you would get more. You have answered my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. FCPA, please.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Rispa, CPA Rispa, let's talk governance. And you told us that's your area of expertise. And from a governance standpoint, what reporting and accountability relationships that exist at the Commission from the level of chairperson of the Commission, commissioners, CEO, and the Secretariat? One is in terms of what reporting relationship are there.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that is supposed to be done by each of those chairperson, commissioners, CEO, and the Secretariat? And then accountability. How do they account to each other? Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you very much, FCPA, for that question. Looking at the overall mandate of the Commission, when you look at the commissioners, the chair, and the CEO, each one has a distinct role. And the chair and the commissioners or members of IEBC offer the oversight and give strategic direction. The CEO and the Secretariat then execute or do the day-to-day operations. So in terms of reporting, the CEO would be the link between the Secretariat and the Commission. So if there are certain directives that need to be executed, the Commission through the chair, that would be passed to the CEO, and then the CEO together with his Secretariat would deliver on the same and report back to the chair and the Commission.
Do IEBC have committees?
Yes, it does.
So what is the role of committees in terms of accountability and reporting?
The committees focus on different things. If you're talking of audit and risk, we are talking of training and human resource. I think the other committee that I'm aware of is finance and supply chain. So among others, there are about 7 or so. They deal with very distinct activities. So if, from my experience as a council member, through these committees is where certain things are looked at in details. Like if you're talking of the electoral processes or the processes that planning for an election, then there's a committee that would be mandated to look into that. If you're talking of procurement, then the committee, which is chaired by a commissioner, would and supported by the Secretariat, would look at what needs to be procured, the finances and all that. So in a nutshell.
So what is the reporting relationship of committees?
The committees
with the commission and with the chair?
Yeah.
How is the relationship?
So the committees should report to the chair and the commission in terms of the reports that are produced from those committees. And then once those papers come to the commissioners and the chair, then there are certain resolutions that would be passed. And these are now actioned by the secretariat, and that information is passed back to the secretariat through the CEO.
How do the committees report to the chair and the commission? You've said it reports to the two. You've mentioned both chair and the commission. How is that process?
There should be papers which are brought to, because I want to believe the chair and the commissioners work together. So if there are papers that come from the committee, then these come to the commissioners and the chair. And this same sitting usually has the CEO, who is the secretary, to that sitting or to the commission. So the chair is in charge of chairing the discussions, because after the committee has done their work, my understanding is that what comes to the chair and the commissioners are recommendations. And then the chair and the commissioners pass the resolutions or make the final decision collectively on what they want carried forward.
Thank you. I wish you well, Rispa. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, FCPA.
Thank you. I want to invite Evans Misati to ask some questions. Evans, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Rispa, pole kwa homa.
Asante, I'm getting better.
Now, I want to ask you a question related to the group formation dynamics. It's my assumption that the former commissioners, the ones who had come in at different intervals, eventually, I think it's because of the group dynamics, the forming, storming, and norming, that they ended up working like separate groups. Now, what we saw, the divisions that we saw, assuming these divisions are escalated to the secretariat, which is most likely, and the secretariat is still existing, we saw the division of the one who went, and if that division had escalated to the secretariat, meaning that division is still existing, using your skills of a certified mediator, as I've seen, how will you address it when you become a commissioner?
Thank you so much for that question, Mr. Misati. So, Chair, group dynamics will always be there. And with the history that exists, it's unfortunate that some of the commissioners had been there longer, and then the newcomers naturally grouped together. And these divisions tend to percolate to the secretariat. So one advantage I see is that with the formation of this new commission, the commissioners and the chair, these are people coming together. And for me, the first thing would be that there should be some sort of cohesion, and the group needs to build a team so that the tone is set at the top. Because the moment you allow the secretariat to notice that there's division, or you're working in silos, then they would take advantage of that. So the starting point for me would be given a chance that as commissioners, we make sure that we speak the same language, we are as cohesive as possible. The chair sets the tone, and then the moment that is set at the top, then it would be a little easy now to deal with the secretariat, because they have no choice. Whatever comes to the commission, they realize that you'll be speaking one language as commissioners. And a lot of team building and cultural shifts, because I know a culture is not created overnight, but once the tone is set at the top by the commissioners, they demonstrate that they are united. They demonstrate that they're clear around their role. They demonstrate their strategic role of oversight without interfering with what happens at the secretariat. Then slowly, with the distinction of roles and clarity around what they do, I want to believe that clear communication, constant reminder of what is expected of each other would help us shift those dynamics.
Thanks so much. I hope you'll be able to address that when assuming you get an opportunity to get there. Now, the last one I want to ask you is the outside influence from the politicians. If you find a situation that politicians have got the powers, they're the ones who passes a budget in parliament, and you find that their influence is not in favor of your operations plan, what will you do as an IEBC commissioner? They are delaying your budget and some things have to be done. What are the options that you have as an IEBC commissioner?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Will you address the media and say these people are not releasing the money? Or because Kenyans will be looking at you, because when things go wrong, people will not know it was parliament or wherever, or whichever source. So how will you address it?
Very true. This is an issue that would urgently need to be addressed. And unfortunately, probably it's happening even now. One thing I know is that there are certain activities of the commission that can be done with funds from other sources. And then there are those that rely on exchequer. And my belief is that there are many ways to kill a cat, if I may use that analogy. Sometimes you need to lobby, be very strategic, and use tactics that would enable people see things from your view. Of course, it's important to speak clearly, communicate clearly to the parliamentarians through the right channel, and let them know that this delay is causing harm in one way or the other. Meanwhile, the things that we can do as a commission as we wait for this funding, because one truth or reality that I know most entities are faced with is that our resources are never enough. So it could be deliberate that the parliamentarians are causing that delay. Right now, we are hearing that our counties have not been funded for, several months. It could be that our coffers are empty. Whatever the reality is, it's always good just to present your case well through the right channel, lobby if there's need for lobbying, again, without compromising on the values. And let work go on with the other funding sources that are available.
Now, my last follow-up question. You talked about lobbying. When you talk about lobbying, it will be, you're an independent commission, you need to make your independent decisions. What do you find that the lobbying is requiring? For me, scratch my back, I scratch your back. How will you address that? Because you're lobbying, you're trying to lobby. So how do you address that?
One thing I can say for sure is that that is a case that you may be faced with, but lobbying does not always have to go that way, because when you do it strategically, identify people, like-minded people who would champion your cause. Because I'm sure among the parliamentarians, they're very sober parliamentarians who would see things from a different perspective. So it would be on us to identify such characters or such people, and also avoid those ones that we know probably would pull us in the other direction. It's not an easy task, but it's doable.
Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask Fatuma to also ask some questions, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Rispa.
Yes, Madam.
How would you ensure that the non-traditional stakeholders, like the nomadic pastoralists, hunter-gatherer communities, ethnic minorities, are meaningfully engaged by the IEBC?
Thank you, Madam Fatuma, for that question. Chair, my understanding is that part of stakeholder engagement is to, one, identify who these people are, because in the numbers, sometimes they may be forgotten. So having statistics on who these are, those who are marginalized, it's good to have statistics on how many they are, where they are, among other things. The second step would be to identify their unique needs. What are their unique needs that need to be addressed? And then figure out the best channel or how best to deal with these people. Does it call for some innovative ways of ensuring that maybe through certain collaborations, you have people who are able to reach them? If it's about voting and they keep moving, are we going to have certain setups that favor that? If it's about the voter education, it could be language barrier, it could be accessing them. Then again, we, as a commission, we would need to figure out what are the best structures to ensure that they are reached and their needs are addressed.
These are the kind of structures that I'm actually asking you, if you can identify any. Like,
yeah.
Let's speak on voter education.
On voter education.
Yes, how would you ensure, if you become a commissioner, that the IEBC is able to reach to these communities, and the content, the type, what's going to be the medium?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I want to believe these marginalized communities still have access to certain services. And if it's about having maybe even Huduma Center in certain areas where they are, if it means having mobile, how would I call it? Like having people who move around to go specifically where they are to conduct this voter education. If it means identifying their own in the various places where they're found, to also collaborate with IEBC on ensuring that they are reached. And like I said, it starts by having the statistics and knowing exactly where they are, who they are, their numbers and all that. Then all this can be used. I also want to believe, despite the circumstances, there could be instances where technology would still apply, even where they are. And those can also be explored in terms of just ensuring that they're engaged. I don't know how it works, but we were just talking with Madam Koki about the options even to voting. So if we think out of the box, with these nomadic communities, it could be probably people in the diaspora. I'm just widening that perspective of who are these unique people. It could be people with disability. It could be people in prisons. So once we've identified and figured them out, then we could think of, are they probably, could we publish certain booklets that are distributed to them? Could we have people on specific days go there? Could we use the officers or their own representatives, get champions in those areas and among the different categories to pass our information?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you well.
Thank you so much.
I want to invite Nicodemus to also ask you some questions. Nicodemus, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Madam Ruth. Madam Rispa.
Yeah.
What institutional mechanism would you expect to see at the IEBC to ensure integrity standards are consistently upheld at all levels if we're given a chance to serve?
If you don't mind, you just say it again slowly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pardon me.
What institutional mechanism would you expect to see at the IEBC to ensure integrity standards are consistently upheld at all levels?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. Institutional mechanisms that would promote integrity standards at IEBC. If you allow me, I would say that credibility, which then builds on integrity, starts with systems. So as a commissioner, I would be keen to ensure that we have systems that work, systems that are understood, systems that are verifiable. And this then would make anybody who has other ideas on doing anything that is unethical think twice. And then human beings need constant reminders. So if it calls for ethical trainings or training on ethics, often by the commissioners, by the members of staff, this could also help. I'm also thinking that we could have accountability partners. This could be amongst ourselves as commissioners. It could also be within the secretariat, so that there's no process that is handled from end to end by one or two people. The more people are involved, the better, because then that makes it difficult for collusion to happen. And then communication, open communication, proactive communication, where you don't wait until people are asking questions, also helps if that is in place. Probably having dashboards that would give certain information, because over time we probably know the areas of concern, the questions that are constantly asked. Then we could have dashboards that are accessible, or have third parties and other stakeholders able to access information. And we could also have a channel where if somebody has a case or would like to whistleblow or want certain issues addressed, then that channel or provision is also made for feedback.
Thank you very much, and wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I now want to invite Professor Adam Solo to ask you some questions. Prof.
Thank you, Chair. CPA RISPA Aworolik.
Yes.
I usually start by seeking clarification, so this is not a question. My questions will come.
Okay.
I noticed that from your work experience, you have mostly or nearly worked throughout your life with international organizations, either domiciled in Kenya or outside.
Yes.
Any reason why you have not worked with a public institution in Kenya, or now is the opportunity to work with one?
Now is the opportunity. I'm a very patriotic Kenyan. I want to say that. Okay. And God giving me the chance, probably this would be the opportunity.
Thank you very
much. But I have demonstrated my interest. Like I said, I serve in Public Sector Accounting Standards Board.
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that you serve in ISPAC, and you have served nearly 3 chairs.
Oh, yes.
Okay. To my question now. The Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 distinguishes policy leadership from operational execution. If RISPA Aworolik became a commissioner, how would you maintain this distinction without overstepping into the secretariat's functions? I hope I was not as fast as boring, but I would repeat if you need me to repeat.
Kindly.
The Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 distinguishes policy leadership from operational execution. Mm-hmm. How would you, if you were to become a commissioner, maintain this distinction so as or without overstepping into the secretariat's functions?
Thank you. So Chair, on clarity of roles, this should be well stated from the start, so that the oversight and strategic role of the commissioners is known by the commissioners, and the secretariat are also aware of their operational roles, and the mechanism on how the two come together to support and complement each other. So the constant reminder on clarity of roles, we could have a charter that speaks to who does what. And this is always helpful. Some of these things can even be demonstrated diagrammatically so that you see where dotted lines are, full lines are. And this can be, well exposed so that people do not overstep. And I think when you work as a team, there's a way that teamwork enables to keep each other in check. So as commissioners, the constant communications amongst the commissioners would remind them of what their role are. Because I can tell you for sure, it's usually more likely that it's the oversight that gets into operations than the other way. So when there's that distinction and accountability and just supporting one another to stick to the clear roles and mandates, of course, guided by the chair, I think that would be helpful.
My last question in this segment, you are a thoroughbred finance and account person from your CV. And I'm sure you know that in your world, when you look at the IEBC budget, there's a term called tenderpreneurs. You must have heard about that. And if you are in the IEBC Commission, rest assured you'll face them. So Rispa Aworolek is a commissioner. You are approached by a contractor offering a financial incentive in exchange for influencing a decision on a ballot printing tender. What would Commissioner Rispa Aworolek immediate course of action be, should that happen?
Thank you, Prof, for that question. And in our line of duty, Chair, as an accountant, I must say that many a times we are faced with these conflicts. I started by saying I believe in value-based leadership. So when I am constantly reminded of the values that guide the work that I do, then I would avoid one, even having a scenario that would put me in that compromising situation. Because there are certain times when you can see danger from a distance. I mean, the moment even this contractor calls me, if they're coming in person or coming in proxy, the best thing would be to even avoid that. I'd also spoken to a situation where it's always good when you're not a sole decision maker. So it keeps you in check. And once processes are clear to people, then they would not waste their time. I know that those would want to try to influence as many as possible, but you make it harder by having a number of people involved in that process at different stages. One thing that I think has also helped me in my line of work, I mentioned earlier that when I was working as a finance and supply chain officer back in World Vision, there was a supplier relations management. So you can do some ethical background check on certain suppliers way in advance. And there are those who you'd avoid and just not want to deal with them. In the current world, we even have certain policies that we ask suppliers, not even just staff, to sign, so that potentially, if you want to do business with IEBC, then you're clear that this is how IEBC operates, and anything outside of that would not be acceptable. This would be the last line of defense. Sometimes it's just good to name and shame some characters if you can't handle them any other way.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Have you had to do that before?
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah, sometimes our work call for toughness. And you do that once, the beauty is that it will scare off any such potential cases.
Fine, it's not too long when you are in high school. So we will ask our headmaster to ask you some questions from there.
If the 38-year-old said it was long, what would Rispa say? It's that high school time.
Oh my.
But we start from where you're very familiar. And as I said before, your reputation in finance and accounts precedes you. And therefore, I'm going to first ask you a high school question in that. The 2010 Constitution created two independent offices of the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget. From where you sit as an experienced finance and account person, what was the rationale? In other words, before you just used to have Auditor General.
Yeah. And I'll use my own words.
Yes, just use your own words, yeah.
Excuse me. So the Auditor General's office comes in financial management at the tail end. What you'd compare to a mortician. The worst has happened, probably. So having a control of budget who offers oversight on the utilization of the budgets is able to flag certain issues or areas, I think was a good thing. Of course, they work together, and I can tell you for sure, from my experience, most of the issues flagged out by the control of budget end up being picked out by the OEG, if not dealt with in between. So they complement each other, and the role of the control of budgets comes early enough, which is more proactive and a good thing.
You guys which use what terms? Ante and okay,
Say
let
that
me
again?
not to go into that area.
Okay.
It's not my area. The second question, not in your area, but in current affairs, specifically on wildlife. Name the world-famous phenomenon experienced in one of the major national reserves in Kenya, including the name of the reserve. Can I repeat?
I think I heard you, and I'll the wildebeest migration at the Masai Mara.
Thank you, Chair.
Are you sure it's not Serengeti?
Say whatever you said first goes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rispa. It's been a pleasure listening to you and learning from your perspectives. I don't know whether you have any question or comment for us.
Thank you, Chair. It's not a question per se, mine is just a comment. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. I know I'm the last candidate of the day. You're tired. It's been a long day. And just to...
I hope it was not showing that we were tired.
Not really. Okay. Yeah, in fact, that's part of the reason I'm giving this statement, just to congratulate you. This is day, is it 17? Or, yeah, it's not an easy task. Yet you have delivered on it really well. I was just sharing out there before I came in with the support staff who are very friendly, that I don't know how you manage. You know, speaking from morning to evening every day for so many days, it calls for a lot of strength and commitment, which I must applaud you for. So thank you very much. It's service to the nation, and I wish you well for the remaining days.
Thank you very much. There's a question you didn't respond to, whether you have any award or honor.
Okay. Yeah, so that has been given to me by East Park.
Okay.
There's a recognition. I'm due for fellowship, God willing, at the end of this year.
You become an F.
I'll be a fellow.
Okay.
Because of the years of service.
Okay.
But before graduating to that, about 3 years ago, I got a recognition, an award for the service this far.
That's fine.
And then it culminates into the fellowship in about 3 years.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to you as you become an FCPA. And we wish you well. May you get well from the cold.
Thank you, sir.
The notebook and the pen are yours.
Okay.
Even the water, and then your certificates are with a gentleman who you will find at the door.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a good.
You too. Thank you. Okay, we call it a day. We want to thank you again, members of the Fourth Estate, for being faithful and fervent in the work of helping Kenyans follow these proceedings. We will see you tomorrow again at 8:30, God willing. Thank you very much. Asante.